Bismillah, alhamdulillah, thumma salatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. In this our installment on the discussion of the usul of Imam Malik, rahimahullah, we are going to be discussing Dalalatul Halfaz min haythu النطق في محل النطق وفي محل غير النطق. In the earlier installment, we talked about the indication of the evidences, right? The Sharia, the Quran, and the Sunnah from the angle of their strength. We mentioned the Nas, which has the one meaning explicit, categorical, and then the Dhahir, where the apparent meaning, where a word has two meanings. One is apparent, the other is not apparent, and then the apparent is we'll work with, which is, of course, a stronger evidence. We'll talk about the Mu'awwal, that is the less apparent evidence strengthened by external evidence. And then, of course, I forgot to mention the Mujmal. The Mujmal is where there's no clarity about what is intended. There's a bit of ambiguity about it. So that is really the fourth category when you talk about the strength of the Quran and Sunnah as regards their strength in indicating a particular meaning. And in this installment, we'll talk about the Dalalatu Alfaz min haythu al-nutqi was-sukut. We won't talk about the evidences from the angle of the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, right? The text of the Quran and the Sunnah has a letter to it and has a spirit to it. The letter of the law is called the mantuq, and the spirit of the law is called the mafhum. And of course, when you go into the deeper waters of ilm usul fiqh, you have sub-categorizations and subdivisions. We will not be able to go through all this. We just give passing remarks about them. So Ibn Abi Ghufar refers to this when he says, ثم الدليل من كتاب الله ثم الدليل سنة الأواه ومن أصوله التي بها يقول تنبيه القرآن وسنة الرسول وحجة عليه مفهوم الكتاب وسنة الهدي إلى النهج الصواب ثم تنبيه كتاب الله ثم تنبيه سنة الذي جاءها عظم. So in the next two stanzas from الدليل من كتاب الله, here it refers to the dalilu to the mafhum al-mukhalafa. Mafhum al-mukhalafa, which is referred to by some usuliyun as dalil al-khitab. And in the next stanza it says tanbih Quran wa sunnati rasul. Here is referring to the mafhum al-muwafaqa. Both refer to the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. In the subsequent two stanzas, it refers to aspect of the mantuq, particularly the dalil al-iqtida and then the dalil al-ima. So let me do this in a way that's going to make it easier for us to understand. So we talk about the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. The letter of the law is called the mantuq, and the spirit of the law is called the mafhum, right? If that is clear, let us start from the letter of the law. The letter of the law may be explicit, sarih, and it may not be explicit. At times it may at times it may be something that is that goes with lazim and nas. That's a concomitant, if I remember the word very well. So I give an example. The Messenger of Allah said, "Rufi al-qalam an thalath, an al-na'im hatta yastayqidh, an al-sabi hatta yahtalim, wa al-majnun hatta yafiq." That the pen has been raised for three categories of people: the boy till is matured, the sleeping person is awake, and the mad person is sane. Rufi al-qalam. What does that mean? Literally, it means that the pen has been raised, but actually what is being said is that there will be no sins for these individuals. If we don't put this into the text, this would have no meaning. The literal wordings of text will have no meaning. This is called dalilu al-iqtida. It is part and parcel of the letter of the law. So also we have al-ima, that is when a particular description or an adjective is attached to a word in the text of the Quran and Sunnah, and that is the reason, right, the causative reason why a particular rule is attached to it. In Quran hukm biwasfin ja'a allil bihi wa sammihi ima'a. Dalil ima, both of these are mentioned by Ibn Abi Ghufar in his poem. So but this is just the letter of the law. And then we have the spirit of the law, the mafhum all these, when I say text of the Quran and the Sunnah, the jurists would call on all of these to make to have a balanced interpretive interpretation of the text. So that is why, I mean, scholarship is juristic scholarship is something very, very deep. So a text that one will just look at literally, they have different dimensions of interpretations. So I talked briefly about the letter of the law, or the letter of the text. What about the spirit of the text, the mafhum? The mafhum is further divided into two: mafhum al-mukhalafa, or mafhum al-muwafaqa, or mafhum al-mukhalafa. The mafhum al-muwafaqa is where the text indicates something, an understanding we derive from the text, which is not explicitly mentioned in that text, would either have equal ruling with that text, which is called al-mafhum al-musawi, which is called the lahn al-khitab, or would even have a greater meaning than what has been explicitly stated. Take, for instance, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was discussing respect to our parents, up to the point I said, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا uff. Do not say uff to your parents. This is what the letter says, وَلَا تَقُمَ اللَّهُمَا أُفٍّ. But somebody asks us, if I say, oh, or if I bang my legs, or I shake my head, or I frown my face when my parents talk to me, what's going to be the rule? The rule is going to be it's not permissible, and it is still with the same text that I will appeal to. So, but this is not mentioned. So yes, because it is of equal footing, right? You saying uff to your parent, or you saying oh is of equal footing. From maf'umuhu musawi. So this is also called lahn al-khitab. And we have a situation whereby at times what you understand, the rule you're going to derive that you understand from the text, may even be greater than what is stated explicitly in the text. What do I mean? Take, for instance, somebody were to ask you, can I beat my mom? Or can I beat my dad? And say, no. Allah says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. But it doesn't say it is not وَلَا تَضْرِبُهُمَا. No, we say no, because if it is prohibited for you to say uff as a sign of disrespect to your parent, it's going to be doubly, triply prohibited for you to raise your hands against your parents. So scholars also understand the Quran and the Sunnah from the spirit of the law. That's the mafhum al-muwafaqa. Thumma, we have mafhum al-mukhalafa, whereby you're understanding from the text. You understand a rule from the text that is actually different from what the text explicitly actually stated. So what do we mean by this? Take, for instance, Allah says, and this is called Dalil al-Khitab. That was what Ibn Abi Gufa started this standard with. From a Dalil min Kitabillah, from a Dalil Sunnat al-Awwaya, all these are hujjah, are evidence for Imam Malik. Take, for instance, Allah says about the person who has been divorced, وَإِن كُنَّ أُولَاتِ حَمْلٍ فَأَنفِقُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ حَتَّى يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. That if a man divorces his wife irrevocably, and that woman is pregnant, أُولَاتِ حَمْلٍ, you have to spend on her until she gives birth. So one would say, what if she was not pregnant? Then you use the same text to say that yes, the text says if she was pregnant. If she was not pregnant, you are not required to spend on her. هذا هو المفهوم المخالفة. Another evidence is that the Prophet said, إذا كان الماء كلتين لا يحمل خبث. When water is up to 2 kullah, a lot of vessel in Arabia at that time, impurities have no impact on it. What if it is lesser than 2 kullah? It means from the mafhum al-khalafa that impurities would make that water impure. So this is an example of the mafhum al-mukhalafa. So we have the letter of the law, the spirit of the law, and all our evidences for Imam Malik. To come with next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.